This tutorial will show you how to make a swimlane diagram just like this one. A swimlane diagram is an upgraded type of flowchart that helps you clarify who does what in a specific process. If you're not familiar with swimlane diagrams and want to learn more about the basics, check out our video, What is a Swimlane Diagram?, which is linked in the upper right. We'll cover how to make a swimlane diagram regardless of what tool you're using, but for this tutorial, I'm making a swimlane diagram in a tool called Gliffy. Gliffy is an easy-to-use app available in Confluence, Jira, and online. You can learn more about our app through the info linked in the upper right as well, or you can find a link to start a free trial in our video description. In Gliffy, I'm going to go to File, New. This will load in a new page of the editor, and here I'm going to select Flowchart. This preloads all the shapes you need to make a swimlane diagram in this left shape panel here. In our example, I want to diagram a pizza ordering process. And I'm going to start by adding a swimlane shape. This one has 2 lanes or rows, and I think I'm actually going to need more than that. So let's think through how many lanes we actually need. I'm going to say we need one for the customer, and then I know the customer is going to call the shop and someone's going to take that phone call. Let's say that's the pizzeria owner. The owner is going to have the kitchen make the pizza, so I should have a lane for the kitchen. And then this pizzeria offers delivery as well, so I want a lane for the delivery driver just in case the customer selects that. So in order to make sure I have the right number of lanes, I can click on the shape and then click this gear icon and select 4 lanes so that I have one for each I need. I'm going to take a second to resize these a little bit. They're just a little big for my taste, personal preference there. All right, that looks good. I'll zoom out so that we can see this whole thing. And then I'm also going to give us some more room to draw our process by dragging this out as well. Okay, now let's double click and give each of these the correct name. We have the customer, we have the store owner, we have the kitchen, and we have the delivery driver. Great. I'll double click to add this title as well, which is the pizza ordering process. Now that I have these lanes laid out, we can start diagramming that process. Swim lanes work kind of like you'd read a book, so the first things go on the left, and then the things that follow in the process build out to the right. One quick tip, I like to use layers to keep this organized. So on layer 0, we have these swim lane shapes. I'm going to go ahead and rename this lanes. And then I'm going to click this plus button to add another layer where I'll actually build out my flowchart. What I'm doing here is I'm double clicking to rename flowchart and hitting enter to save that name. So from here on out, I'm going to diagram on this flowchart layer. I'm also going to lock this lanes layer so I don't accidentally move it around. Now I can start drawing that process. The first step in a flowchart is always represented by this oval shape, and that's the customer deciding they want pizza. Once that customer has decided that, they will start with a process step, and that is calling their favorite or calling your favorite pizza place. Both of these fall in the customer lane because it's the customer that owns this process. Now I'm going to drag and drop another process step for the store owner who takes the order. They're going to print that order with this nifty paper tape icon. We can show that there's a paper document to send the order to the kitchen. And as soon as they send that order, the kitchen can start making the order. So I'm going to add that prep order in the kitchen lane here. Now, while the kitchen is doing that, the store owner still needs to take your credit card info. So I'm going to add this trapezoid, which is a manual input icon. And if you ever forget what these are called, you can hover over them and it'll tell you. So here we have credit card processing. And I'm calling this a manual input because they're going to have to put in all your card info. While they're doing that, the kitchen is prepping the order, and they might even get it done really fast. So I'm going to put this here and say box order, which is what they'll do once they get those pizzas done. Now, what happens next depends on a customer decision. So we're going to draw in this decision diamond and put it in the customer column. And this is takeout or delivery. If the customer selects delivery, then we have an additional step for the delivery driver to deliver the order. If the customer selects takeout, then it's on them to go to the pizzeria, and then they can pick up their pizza and eat the pizza. So some things to note in our process, we're showing that the store owner can be finishing processing the order while the kitchen starts making the order. That's what these things being stacked here means. That's an important nuance of a swim lane diagram. Now that we know what steps are taking place in the process from left to right, we can draw in the arrows and complete this diagram. So I'll click on this connector tool in the toolbar and draw my first arrow. Right now it's just a line. You can click on that arrow and click this Edit Line Processes to add your arrowhead. That default will save as I draw in the line for the rest of this diagram, so I can go ahead and connect all these shapes with that arrow. All right, and some of these arrows look a little wonky, so you can go ahead and tweak those however you need. I forgot to draw this one. You can also click to add labels to these arrows. So after takeout or delivery, I'm going to say this is what happens if the customer says delivery, please. And I can click to drag this text along the line. So I'll put it right here. And here's what happens if they said pick up. Great. This is an awesome looking diagram. So one last thing, I'm going to apply a diagram style just to spruce this up a little bit. To do that, I'm going to click the artist palette here, and then I'm going to select a style that I like. I really like this one with the orange. It gives me a pizza vibe. So with that, I've got an awesome swim lane diagram. Remember that you can use this flowchart format whenever your process seems a little bit too complicated. You'll have a crystal clear setup in no time.